and Mark Lackey are the founders of Hire Smarter Virtual Assistants. Together, they have co-founded and run multiple businesses for 2 decades. They have generated over $15.7 million in revenue for their service-based businesses in the past 4 years alone. Mark and Ann have been helping other business owners grow and get control of their business while saving on average of 50 to 75% over traditional practices by sourcing quality employees from the Philippines. They have evaluated over 20,000 applicants and come up with the successful formula for any client needing help with customer service, sales support, marketing support, administration, and accounting. And it can be done by computer and a phone. And they source and help hire the right talent for your team. And I'm really excited because this next 30 minutes, we've got 15 minutes with you guys and then 15 minutes with our next speaker, is really dedicated to your sales support, which is so, so crucial. So I'm stoked about this conversation. You know how much I love a good sales support team. So welcome. We're excited to have you on with us.
Well, thank you for having us. It's been our pleasure to give out whatever knowledge we can.
Awesome. Okay, so first question we've got to talk about is why the Philippines? Because I'm sure people in here are thinking that, well, why the Philippines versus anywhere else in the world?
So I think, when Mark and I started 5 years ago, we actually looked at all the different countries and tried to figure out what's the biggest blend with the things that we wanted. So we wanted really good English speaking. So that was important. So that kind of knocked down a few. We wanted someplace that was economical, right? We wanted a good price point for our hires. And the other big reason is, Mark, I'll let you kind of talk about the kind of the elephant in the room of why we chose those.
Yeah, well, there's one big thing is almost every Fortune 500 and Fortune 1000 company has a call center set up in the Philippines. And if you've ever called your bank, your internet provider, anybody, you've talked to somebody in the Philippines, you just didn't recognize it. So they train them great customer service skills. Then we scoop them up and deliver them to medium-sized businesses. So Chase Bank does all the training. So we figured if they're doing it over there, why shouldn't we, right?
Yeah,
why reinvent the wheel?
Delta, all of the major banks, major hotel lines, everybody. And I agree with you. The one thing that I'll add in there as well is the very high level education. So you're getting people on your team that are very skilled, very highly educated. They have degrees. And then they're choosing to work in this industry because it's a great industry for them, and they make more money than they would as a nurse, for example.
Exactly. And there's one other key component. So a lot of our businesses have financial components. In other words, they're in a particular segment of the business unit where security matters. And so Philippines was one of the only national federal, FBI level type criminal background checks that we can do. You can't do that in all countries. And so that was kind of the next final place. We're like, okay, that's got all the check marks for us. So that's why the Philippines.
Yeah. Okay. So we actually only live about 30 minutes away from each other. And I don't know if you have the internet struggles that I do, but I will also say that every person in the Philippines has better internet than I have in rural Georgia. It's so frustrating.
That's true. But that is part of the vetting process that we put them through. We vet their technology because that is one of the key components to successful online work.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Sonia mentioned in here too, she loves the Philippines, the kindest people. They're very loyal employees. They're very positive. I just adore my Filipino team. So I love that we're helping people to understand how to be able to get help in their business faster. So what are some of the areas that you found that you're able to successfully get them help and support in their business with regards to marketing and sales?
Well, marketing and sales, one of the biggest challenges, we all know this as salespeople, the hardest thing is the follow-up. If it's not low-lying fruit and we can't close them right now, we tend to move on, right? And so we lose a lot of traction and a lot of deals because it's not top of mind.
Yeah, and the old adage is you need 7 touches, right, to be able to close some business. So where me as a business owner is trying to do all the selling, I can make some initial contacts, but I then move on, like Ann said, to the next one. I have VAs that are doing follow-ups for me, sending out emails making some calls and saying, Mark really wants to get on your calendar. Can we book an appointment? And those types of calls. And two, it's if I'm on a call and another call is coming in, somebody else doesn't answer it, they're going to go to the next service provider, correct?
Absolutely.
So
we talked about that earlier. Yes.
yeah. So if Bonnie or Alvin or any of our people are answering the phones, they can start the question answer period and then flip them over to Ann or to Mark.
And they also help with the pre-screen too. So a lot of times, I'll get a random request and I'm not really sure what they're asking for, if we're a good fit. And so I'll say, okay, Daphne, call them, tell them a little bit about what we do. And if they're a good fit, put them on my calendar. If they're not a good fit, refer them to one of our other partners or some other people that we know in the industry that can help them. And so I think that's got to be the very biggest thing that we help sales and marketing people. And of course, there are plenty of virtual employees too that are great in marketing and can do flyers and to do pretty brochures and social image being posted. I mean, all of that too. So by the time you have the branding and the follow-up, those are probably the two key components, I would say.
I love it. So I want to ask all of our business owners a painful question, and I want you to give me an honest answer, okay? How many hours last week were dedicated to sales in your business? Just type in the number. So reach outs, prospecting, sales conversations. How many hours were dedicated to sales? I love asking this question. Thank you for the honest answer, Nick. And the rest of you, let's put them in. Let's put them in. I want to see them. I'm waiting. Because here's what I know to be true. If you really, high five, Lynette, 5 hours of sales calls. I love it. If you want to increase your sales, you have to increase the number of hours that are being dedicated to sales. And as the business owner, that's challenging because we have so many other responsibilities. I have to take care of clients. I need to be doing, business strategy with my clients. I need to be working on some of them with implementation pieces. I need to work on my own strategy and marketing and managing my team. I don't have 40 hours a week to dedicate to sales, but I just think my business deserves 40 hours. So when you can get that right support in the right places, I think that's pretty critical. Do you want to talk a little bit about how to find the right VAs for your team and make sure that you're hiring quality?
Sure. So, there's a lot of different ways you can do that. Clearly, the hiring process is pretty much standard across the board, right? You've got to define the role. You've got to advertise for the role. You've got to review the resumes and have assessments and then have in-person interviews, usually multiples is what we recommend. And then you kind of narrow down the candidates. It can take a lot of time, energy, and effort. And that's why a lot of our clients like us, because we do all that kind of heavy lifting for them and give them the 3 choices. So it's again, the process is very similar, regardless of whether you do it on your own or whether you hire it in. One of the things that we've found, though, is that hiring can be a science. And understanding how to evaluate one candidate against another is an artful science.
Yeah, because so many times we didn't go to school and learn how to hire people, right? We went to business school or wherever we went.
Right.
But what we found is most business owners hire people they like. So they're not drilling down to find out, hey, do you really want to be on the phone for 6 hours a day making inbound and outbound calls and then 2 hours a day researching so you can spend 6 hours the next day on the phone? And finding that person that can do that. Ann is excellent at doing that. So she puts them through batteries of tests. They go through multiple interviews. They do writing skills, speaking, a whole lot of different things. But we find that person that really likes to talk on the phone and likes, I hate to say it, rejection.
Or can handle rejection. They probably don't like it.
Yeah, they don't like it. Yeah, they can handle it. Because as business owners, many times we don't like being told that we don't have the best widget around and somebody's not going to buy it, right?
Yeah, it's true. We sometimes take our own stuff a little bit more personally, whereas, someone someone that's just one layer removed, for them it's they just want to hit their goals and they want to hit their objectives. And for us, when somebody tells us no, we're like, but it's my heart and soul that I've created this.
You killed my baby. Like don't call the baby ugly.
I love having closing conversations, but I personally really don't enjoy the prospecting and the appointment setting. And so it's not that I can't do it. It's that every time I am doing it, I feel like this is such a waste of my time. I
Right.
should be
And
having
it is.
conversations. Yeah.
And it is, having that qualifier, having that person that's kind of your insulator so that you can do the best that you can do, which as the business owner, you are always going to be the best closer because nobody should be more passionate about your business than you are. I mean, I know if you talk to me about Hire Smart, I'm like, we are the best I believe that. But it doesn't, we only do full-time dedicated. There are people that want part-time. There are people that, and we're just not a good fit.
Yeah, and to ask all those questions, Ann doesn't need to be doing that.
Right.
Somebody else does that in the front end to find that, okay, we're a match. Then let's go out on our first date. So then they get on, book an appointment, right? And that's when the conversation can really boil down to the nuts and bolts of what a business owner really needs. And it's usually can be summed up in 1 to 3 things done. They need, and they can tell us what that is, and we can source the person with the personality, and we actually deliver 3 of them to them so that they can then figure out which one has the best fit into their culture.
But again, you can do it on your own. It's just a matter of, is that a good use of your skill set and time? And what we find with a lot of business owners is again, the cost of a bad hire is wasted time, energy, effort, just mental drain and pulling you away from your focus cost the business owners probably 5 to 6 times whatever their investment.
Yeah, because the Tuesday after the first Tuesday, they've hired somebody, they've been there a week, and then the next Tuesday they go, oh my gosh, why did I hire this person? They don't meet my job requirements.
This is how I think most business owners hire. Honestly, I think most business owners are like, I put it off. I need them now. And then they post a job. Then they get overwhelmed by the amount of resumes that are there because literally there will be hundreds within a day when you post a job in the Philippines. And then they research through the first page. They try to find the best people on the first 2 pages, and they get them on interviews and they hire them quick because they're desperate. That's not the right way to do it. Like if you want good lasting hires, you've really got to make this a process. And if you're not the right person to do that, I am all for admitting this is not the right role for me to serve in my business. I need to outsource this either to a company like Hire Smart or to somebody else on the team. But we really have to be careful as business owners, you guys, that we keep ourselves in the income producing activities. And hiring is more income supporting than it is income producing. No one is going to pay you to hire somebody else, but you obviously need that support in order to really be successful. So I love what you guys do. I think you've got a great process. What's the best way for our attendees and our listeners to really get in touch with you?
Well, they certainly can have a free hiring consultation with me, and they can go to hiresmartvirtualemployees.com/appointment and book a 30-minute, no obligation, just kind of go through a process or whatever they need. I'm certainly happy to serve. I love to do that. I love to talk to entrepreneurs. That's one of my favorite things to do. And then the next question that we get all the time is like, what can they do? Right.
Yeah.
So if you want to do hiresmartvirtualemployees.com/task, there's a free download of 47 things that they can do in a wide variety of stuff. I know this is marketing and sales, which is great because we think that that's a wonderful way to get started with, if you're trying to grow, having that support for all the reasons we just talked about. But again, we do more than that. So if anybody has any other questions, I can drill down to that in the consultation. So hopefully those 2 gifts will be, valuable to your listeners today.
Yeah. I just want to issue the challenge for everybody that is on and watching replays, however you watch this. Get sales support in your business. Get sales and marketing support. Your business deserves 40 hours a week dedicated to sales. And if you can't give it, then you need some help on your team. And obviously, one of the biggest values of hiring in the Philippines is it's going to cost you a fraction of the price as what you would pay to hire someone stateside. And there really are some great benefits. I have personally in my business, this is a strategy that I absolutely use and love. So thank you so much for being on with us. We really appreciate you.
It's been our pleasure. Thank you. And we hope to